this is how you can strategically put your content pillars.
The reason people buy from you is because they really buy into you.
The word networking brought absolute shivers down my spine.
You can start cultivating your network through LinkedIn. That's super, super powerful.
Intention is absolutely everything in this game.
They hire you because of you or your firm's brand.
Strategy is absolutely vital.
LinkedIn really is the gateway for that.
You need to be top of mind. You need to be always popping up to remind them that you're there.
Who do you need in your online virtual 24/7 networking room? So that's giving you the foot in the door.
We are so excited to help you unlock LinkedIn's potential with our LinkedIn Starter Pack for lawyers. Across 11 chapters, we'll walk you through creating a profile that stands out, crafting content that connects, and building a network that works for you. It's designed to help you take your career or business to the next level. It's completely interactive, so it's not like reading a dull book on marketing. Go to the link in the description of this episode for more information.
As you guys may or may not know, we've done a few LinkedIn lives recently, which have all been on the topic of LinkedIn. That's been all about sort of growing your brand on the platform, growing your, I suppose, just network, connecting with the right people, growing your community, and also winning clients. We've covered a lot of this in about 2 or 3 different lives now, and they're all up on the podcast, More Than a Lawyer. In addition to that, we just want to do this particular masterclass because the thing that gets forgotten, I think, a lot of the time is you're sort of taught networking offline or you're taught networking online. And we're telling you maybe how to connect with people and build your profile. But actually, we need to integrate this all as one thing. So this is really about thinking, what's your overall networking strategy? And how do you really integrate that from both an online and an offline perspective? And how does this fit in with your broader business or career plan? Because there's no point you networking with all the wrong people. It sounds obvious, but I can't tell you how many people I've spoken to and met who end up at networking events and they don't really know why they're there. This is really a conversation just to encapsulate all of that. And we're going to start with really thinking about, just how important your vision is, how important it is to have clarity in what you're doing and why you're there to begin with. So, Holly, question for you then. How important is vision or some sort of strategy in terms of networking?
Strategy is absolutely vital because at the end of the day, we only have a finite amount of time. And also, LinkedIn is a networking platform. I think we forget this, don't we? We forget it's a business slash careers slash networking platform when we're all here to do one thing, which is to connect with people. So, in terms of strategy, it is absolutely key to make sure that you are connecting with the right people that you want to be connecting with and avoiding wasting your time because, as I say, time is finite and you can't just be guessing or scattergunning or being unintentional about who you connect with because intention is absolutely everything in this game.
Yeah, I think so, absolutely. And I think particularly, so I work with a lot of lawyers, having previously been a lawyer myself. And I think one of the struggles that lawyers have is that they go from being, a great technical lawyer, essentially an employee throughout their careers. And then suddenly people say, okay, now you want to make partnership or you want to go up in the organization or, you've got to get promoted. You need to be well connected. You need to know the right people. You need to be winning the right clients. And I think that's where it's different for everyone, but you have to get clarity on what your bespoke and individual career goals are. So for example, if you are a lawyer wanting to make partner, you need to be thinking about, well, actually, how do I get, like, first of all, what is my business? So for example, if I'm, I don't know, a family lawyer, I always use this example, I potentially want to get high net worth individuals, perhaps high net worth women. I help them particularly with divorce proceedings or child actions or something like that. It's about thinking, well, first of all, what's my business? What's my business strategy? And work backwards from that in terms of thinking, who do I need to know, both in my industry, say experts, other people outside of my industry, and then even clients. So basically, networking strategy will fit under your overarching career or business strategy.
I think also, a lot of people hear the word networking, and I know throughout my whole legal career, the word networking brought absolute shivers down my spine. It was a very scary word for me. But if you just said to me, "Oh, you're just going to meet a few people," I'd be like, "Okay, cool, yeah, I can do that." But it's just when you say the word networking, it just completely freaked me out. It doesn't anymore because I'm much more comfortable with it, but it just completely through me. And so I think if we rephrase it and just say connecting or getting to know people
Mm.
who might be of use to you and you might be of use to them is a much nicer way of kind of putting it, really, isn't it?
I think so, but I think even look, I mean, at the end of the day, we're coming at this from a business perspective. So when you're connecting with people in a business context, you are always thinking of, okay, how does that align with me? But I think we really need to move away from this feeling that it's transactional, because you need to be actually creating the connections long before you actually need those people. I think we're sort of getting into the intricacies of networking now, but it's, you don't want to go straight in there with a sales pitch or wanting something from somebody or asking them for something. So it's really just having that, I don't know, it's taking that step back, isn't it, and thinking, actually, am I, how can I just get to know people, find our common ground and deepen these relationships? And if you're in the right rooms, chances are, something will lead to something else. Maybe not every time, and maybe you won't see anything for 20 years on that. But I think it's about thinking how you can be giving as well as receiving there.
Yeah. So if we look at the broader picture then, so whoever you are and whatever your goals are or your broader vision, what is it that you want to achieve? Do you want to gain more clients? Do you want to progress in a certain career path? What do you actually want? And then, like Helen says, working back from there and deciding strategically and intentionally who are the people that are going to help me get to where I want to be and that I can bring value to them.
That's exactly it. And I think you can take that in both an online and an offline setting. So if you get to that point where you're thinking, who are the people who I want in my network, who I can give value to, who could bring value to me, as sort of, a reciprocal relationship, or the sorts of relationships that you want to have, then you can start thinking about, well, where do I find these people? So, it could be in-person networking events, it could be industry events, it could be legal events, it could be all sorts of different things. But you need to think about where you're going to start meeting those people in an offline sense, but also you can start cultivating your network through LinkedIn. So that means that you can be thinking about, actually, who do I want to be connecting with? Who do I want to reach out to? In terms of how you do that, that is a masterclass that we've covered, I think, a week or two ago, wasn't it, on our in another live. So I'm not going to go into all of the detail there, but it's about thinking, who do you need in your online virtual 24/7 networking room? Because when they're in that space with you, that's super powerful, because they're going to see you pop up all the time. You're going to be seen as an authority or an expert in your area if you're doing LinkedIn right. Also, if you meet them offline and then they're following you online, you're going to subconsciously be in their mind a lot of the time, so you'll become potentially the go-to person. So that's how you kind of join those two things up there. But Holly, I don't know if you had any particular thoughts on that as well.
I just want to just dive into how we can actually connect with the right people, because I feel like people are aware of the fact that they need to have a goal, a vision, they need to find the people who they need to connect with. But let's get into how they actually do it. I know we've covered this in another thing, but let's talk about more about offline and online networking.
Mm. Well, I think one of the first things is that it's about being clear about who you are. So once you're clear about what your business is about, or the direction that you want to be going in and what you want to achieve, it's really about knowing yourself in that professional context. And for me, that's the personal brand. What we show to the world isn't all of us. Like, me, I don't know, out with my friends on a Saturday night is probably not what I'm going to put on LinkedIn, but that doesn't, it's about staying authentic across the board, but deciding what it is you want to present to the world. And I think within that, once you've got clarity as well on your own brand there, it's about thinking, well, what's unique about me? or even if it's not completely unique, what's different? What's that thing that I can pull people in with? And it could be your particular expert area is particularly niche. It could be even just something about you. People buy from people at the end of the day. So you've got to get people to buy into you. But I think it's about really leaning, first of all, into knowing who you are. Would you agree with that, Holly?
Yeah, definitely. And I think this is how you can strategically put your, as we say, content pillars. So the topics that you talk about on LinkedIn. And this is exactly what I did. So I put together 3 topics that I wanted to talk about for the reasons of connecting and networking with people. So I decided that one of my topics would be travel, which was just to make people feel closer to me and more connected to me, because travel is literally like my favorite thing to do and it's my favorite topic to talk about. So I was like, okay, this is going to be one of my pillars and things that I talk a lot about on LinkedIn and be kind of known for as well. And then another one was podcasting and podcasting skills, and my business is around podcasting. I have a podcast, but I also create podcasts for lawyers. So this was a really important thing. So I wanted people to see my content and be attracted to that content and ask me questions about it and connect with me quite naturally through seeing it. And then another thing is law as well. So obviously I'm in the legal industry and I'm providing services to the legal industry. So this is a topic that is also part of my pillars. So all the topics that I speak about are for a very intentional and strategic reason, whether it's to help people get to know me, to connect with me on a more personal level, or whether it's to showcase my skills and knowledge and experience. So I think your content goes hand in hand with networking and finding the people, or them finding you in actual fact, and really making those connections.
I absolutely love that. And I think it's that clarity around the content pillars on LinkedIn in particular is so important. I think we speak to a lot of people, don't we, Holly, who actually aren't clear what they're about or what they're talking about. And they often get very intermittent engagement. They're not actually growing a following. They're not necessarily attracting people to their profiles. And sometimes their posts do well and sometimes they don't do well. And often it's because there is a lack of clarity around what it is you're actually about, what it is you're bringing to market, what it is you're bringing about yourself. So I think just taking that step back and taking that time to think about, what do I want to show to the world and how does this align with my business aims? Like Holly said, she can talk about podcasting, but equally she doesn't only want to talk about podcasting, because that would get boring if that's what she's talking about all the time. And also probably on a personal level, that isn't how people will connect with her, because that's what she does. So we need to see more of Holly in order to be able to connect. So she mentioned there, she'll talk about travel, she'll talk about being a digital nomad lawyer. Again, these are things that make her pretty unique and very interesting. Interestingly, it was Holly being a digital nomad lawyer living in Spain that drew me to her. First of all, when I saw her, I thought, oh, I must get to know her because I live in Spain and I might want to stay a bit longer and all that kind of thing. And I think also you can think about, the impact you want to have in a wider sense. So both Holly and I will talk, for example, about the legal industry, mental health, well-being, culture, toxicity, all of these kind of topics, because they're meaningful to us. And I think if you can really be thinking about your why, what I mean by that is why you're doing something, your values, what drives you, that is what people are going to connect with. What the mistake people make so much is they write content and just try and sort of sell. It's like, here's what I do, here's why you've got an issue, sell. But actually, the reason people buy from you is because they really buy into you.
So what we're actually saying here is the fact that your presence and content go hand in hand and are very, very important to your overall networking strategy, right?
Absolutely. I think that's the thing. When you're clear about what you are and what you want to talk about as well, it means then, when you go to a networking event and people you don't know ask you all these questions about who are you, what do, you don't sound boring, because you don't be like, oh, I'm a solicitor and I do X, or this is what I do day to day. It'd be, oh, hi, I'm Helen. I used to be a commercial litigator. I'm a commercial litigator. I do these kind of cases. I really love this, and this is what I'm into. And, what about you? Like, just making it really human and personable and sort of not boring and scripted. And I think we have to move away from this sense of, the professional just being stuffy and boring and about work, because no one hires you. Talking about lawyers here, but it's more general anyway. No one hires you because you're a good lawyer. There are so many good lawyers out there. They hire you because of you or your firm's brand. But again, that comes back to people. Yeah.
You know what? I think you can actually really utilize LinkedIn to really, really stand out and be someone that your ideal people that you want to connect with gets drawn to you. So, I mean, like this is a perfect example, but you were the ideal person that I would want to connect with because I wanted you on my podcast. You had a cool background, you used to be a partner, you were big in the legal world. So you were ideal for me. And so I think if you think about it and you think, how can I stand out to people? How can I seem potentially more interesting? Think about what you have, like qualities, skills, experience, something that makes you slightly unique that you're willing to share. And for me, it was the fact that I'd quit law and become a digital nomad. And not many people have done that, or that I see anyway online. And there wasn't anyone talking about it. Literally, no one was talking about that on LinkedIn when I started talking about it. So I thought, okay, this is a good chance for me to stand out. So let's start talking about this. And I think it's just such a brilliant way. Find your kind of like unique selling point, so to speak, and just start talking about it. And then people are going to want to know you and going to find you interesting. And then when you go to other people, they'll look at your profile and they'll be like, oh, in fact, I get this all the time. Like, oh, I can see you're a digital nomad. This is a really interesting lifestyle for me. And I want to know more. And think about how you can become attractive and interesting to who you want to be connecting with, basically.
Such key points. And just to mention here as well, if you've got any questions on networking, particularly networking on LinkedIn, networking offline, please do drop them in the chat. I know I've run many networking masterclasses before, and I know it's a whole topic in itself, and I appreciate we're skimming the surface here, but there's a lot of things that get people very stuck here around, I don't know how to talk to people, I don't know how to introduce myself, I don't know how to sound interesting, I don't know how to get the right clients. So, do feel free to ask away and we'll do what we can. On that note as well, Holly and I have built really strong businesses off the back of this platform. We have lots of people already involved, managing partners, CEOs, founders, elite coaches, top lawyers, all sorts of people from Mexico, Canada, Europe, the Middle East, Singapore to Japan. At the end of the day, I think, just saying LinkedIn, people think it's something stuffy to do with some sort of boring online profile with a bunch of recruiters lurking in the background. Sorry, recruiters, some of you are nice. But I think it's, what people don't realize is it's your chance to literally cultivate your very own 24/7 networking room. That means you can have all of the people that you want in that room with you all the time. You can be commenting on their stuff, posting, getting their engagement. The sky is the limit here. I mean, that really is your currency to success. I think, as one of the greats said, your network is your net worth. And that's 100% true in my experience.
Totally. Should we dive into then? Okay, we've spoken about the importance of it, how to be attractive. What about then actually introducing yourself to people online and offline, the people that you want to be connecting with?
Well, I'm going to let you take that one. Do you want to take online?
Yeah, I can take online. Yeah.
Take your pick, Holly. Take your pick.
So I think with online, if I just play it very simply, so if I see someone that I want to be connected with, I want to speak to, I'll literally just go onto their profile and I'll click the notification bell so that I know when they're posting, and so I get notified immediately when they drop a post. And then I'll go to that post and if I'm able to add some type of value to that post, whether it's, I don't know, some interesting insight, or whether it's a nice question, or whether it's further detail elaborating on their post, then I'll put that in the comments and I'll just keep popping up and keep showing up for that person, being reliable and consistent at the same time. And then what I'll do is later down the line, if there's someone that I really, really want to connect with, but they are potentially someone that I can't necessarily find a connection with straight off the bat. Like, let's say I go onto their profile and I think I want to connect with this person, but there's nothing that I can see in common straight away that will allow me to leave them a really nice, interesting message. I won't do that, first of all, if I can't see an instant thing in common, basically. I'll just keep adding value to their post. I actually did this, the other day with someone massive in the business space, and I was like, I really want to connect with this person, but I'm not going to do it straight away because I'm literally going to get rejected because they probably get like hundreds of connection requests all the time. So what I did was I followed his post, put the notification bell on, left comments on his post for actually months, in actual fact. Then he knew who I was after a long period of time because I'd constantly been putting comments on his posts, especially straight away when he first posted. So that means I stand out more because he's more likely to see the comments if you comment straight away when they post. And after a while, I just sent him a connection request saying, I've been following you for a while. We got this, that, and the other in common. I think it's about time that we connected. And he sent me a message back straight away, and we had a conversation going. And that was, it felt very natural and authentic. And I thought, this is such a brilliant way to connect with someone because it's so organic. So this is what I would do. I'd be pinpointing who I want to connect with, and I'd be doing it quite organically and quite naturally and seeing if I've got things in common with them. If I don't, then I will just add value to them until the time is right, basically.
And I love that because that's all about leading with value and leading with generosity, isn't it? It's not, you're not looking to get anything from them there. And you were consciously doing that by the sounds of it, Holly, in quite an intentional way.
Yeah, I was because I thought it's somewhere down the line, I would like to know this person on a deeper level. I'm not in a rush, but I want to show up for them. So that's what I was doing, and that's what I would do. And it was like what you were saying before, and it's also, we had this conversation with someone on the podcast, Ronan, and his episode's going to be coming out soon. And he says that in order to not be desperate when networking, because you don't want to come across as desperate, you've got to connect with people that you want to connect with who might possibly be useful to you or you to them later down the line. So it's something that you've just got to look forward to. It's not something that someone you need like right now. Let's say you want a job, like right now, you want a new job, and then you start sending messages to managing partners of law firms because you want to be in a different law firm. That's desperation. That's going to come across as really bad. So you don't want to be doing that. What you want to be doing is thinking, maybe in 6 months' time, I want a new job. I want to change where I am. And right now, I can be connecting with different founders or CEOs or managing partners or senior partners, whatever, of these different places, wherever I want to work. And I can start kind of warming them up, adding value to them. Maybe it's that they're in a firm and their focus is one area of law, and you've seen something in the news, and you can say to them, oh, just thought I'd let you know I've seen this in the news and it's really relevant to your firm. And I've got some great insights, X, Y, and Z. And you just send it to them like that. That's a way that you can add value to someone, warm them up over a period of time, and then connect with them when the time is right, or have more conversations with them when the time is right. But if you're doing it right now, it can come across as desperate. So think about what you're planning in the future and what you might need in the future, and start planting those little seeds now.
Absolutely. And I think a kind of comparison that I really like around this, which I think is helpful to bear in mind because it helps understand what's happening here, is actually a dating analogy. If you think of somebody, if you meet them, and if, I don't know, on their dates or whatever, they're just super desperate and they, I don't know, it's just that sort of needy, desperate energy. It's not attractive, is it?
Yeah.
It's wanting to come across as somebody who's helpful, who's present, who's interested, but not smothering, not sort of wanting something or trying to sort of take control of you in any way. But equally, they are present enough that they're showing you that they're interested, not so distant. And that's another thing about, once you've got somebody in your network, really nurturing your network, staying in touch, remembering their birthdays, remembering their kids' names. People connect because they feel as though, you're genuinely interested in them as a person. So, the follow up and the maintenance of those relationships is just so key as well. Now, here we have a question. I'm going to put it up. I'm an attorney specializing in ESG. I post 2 or 3 times a week on LinkedIn. I post in my own group and in groups with similar interests. Interesting. In this manner, I'm able to reach an audience of more than, I presume they mean, oh, maybe they do
300,000.
mean 300,000. Okay, that's a lot. 300,000 like minded people with every post. How can I leverage this access? Holly, I think there's quite a few different things to pick apart on this one, isn't there?
Right, let me just pick this apart. I post 3 times a week on LinkedIn. Okay. In my group and in groups with similar interests. In this manner, I'm able to reach an audience of more than. Okay, I don't necessarily understand the question, do you?
I think, and feel free to drop in another question, LinkedIn user. But I think the issue maybe, or that what they may be trying to get at, is how do I actually perhaps increase my engagement on this, or actually my connections with these people? Because I think it's all well and good to post in groups. I mean, you could pick, I don't know, whatever group on LinkedIn, it's got 1 million people. Just because you post in there doesn't mean it's seen by 1 million people. Actually, if the algorithm isn't pushing you, isn't pushing your profile, or the post isn't interesting enough for the algorithm, and I don't mean that in any offensive way, though that's a complex thing in itself. But if your post isn't being pushed, it might only be seen by a handful of people. And also, I think you've got to remember that when people see you for the first time, which most of those people in that group probably will, unless the algorithm is showing it just to your audience, they will have to see something very, very, very interesting about you to think, oh, maybe I should follow or connect with that person. Like the sort of spark of interest that you have to cultivate is so, so high. And this is something that we've spoken about in our previous, we speak about on our podcast in relation to LinkedIn, something we're covering in the academy, which is actually, how do you write posts that are so engaging
Hmm.
that they draw your readers in and make them want to reach out to you?
Yeah. I think also it depends. So in this context, it depends who the groups are and what and the interests that you're talking about. Because also, a lot of I'm in a few LinkedIn groups, but I don't really see the posts from the groups. So what I would probably do is I'd probably say ditch the groups. Well, don't focus on them. Just focus on the quality of your content, because the quality of your content speaks for itself. You know, if you're wanting to attract certain people, think about why you're wanting to attract them and how you can attract them and what's interesting to them. You're saying like-minded people. Okay, so what exactly? So for me, when I'm writing a post and I'm writing a post about, I don't know, mindset, for example, and the mindset of going from in being an employee and then going from that to being an entrepreneur, and you have to shift your mindset. I'm wanting to connect with like-minded people as well when I do a post like that. So you need to think about what's going to resonate with them, and think about the stories that you have in your life that you can help to explain and resonate with these like-minded individuals. So I'll give you an example of what I would do. So if I'm wanting to talk about mindset and I'm wanting to connect with like-minded people on this topic, I will start saying, okay, well, I quit law and I became a digital nomad, and this is what I learned along the way, and this is the lessons that I learned, and this is how it's relatable to you. Do you agree with everything that I've said? Type of thing. And then I will get engagement and I'll get connections from people who are like-minded and the people that I'm wanting to actually attract. So you need to think about how can you actually stand out to these people, and what are you saying to them, and what is going to be attractive to them. That's what I would say.
I think that's a fantastic answer. I think you're completely right there. We think because we're in a particular group, maybe there's 100,000 people in it that we're all like-minded, but actually we're not. When they're probably, you'll find the right type of audience within that, but it's really finding the specific people within that who you want in your network, and how do you grab their attention. So yeah, brilliant answer, Holly. I'm aware we've actually kind of come up to time. Holly, was there anything else that you think we really want to cover off today?
I think the only other thing is the fact that we've mentioned who to pinpoint, to bear in mind your overall vision and goals, which will help you pinpoint those people, not be desperate, give value, how to connect with these people. And then I think another thing is just remembering that, like Helen says, LinkedIn is your 24/7 networking arena. So you can't just reach out to these people and create conversations with these people. You need to be top of mind. You need to be always popping up to remind them that you're there. And this actually really, really works, and it's really powerful because I will send messages to people, I'll have conversations with people, and often people, things come up, their lives come up, and they might forget about sending a message back to you, or they might forget about you in general. And I find that when I post impactful posts, but consistently, these people will see a post and then they'll be like, oh yeah, I forgot that I was having a conversation with her, and it dropped off, and I need to tell her this, or I need to ask her this, or we need to set up a meeting. So always be top of mind for people. It's so important. LinkedIn is a perfect place for you to be able to consistently remain top of mind for the people that you're wanting to attract and that you're wanting to connect with. So don't forget to keep posting and keep giving value to your audience. And what I mean by that is sharing your tips, experiences. This is really, 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 really vital.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think also you can deepen those relationships so much more. And once you've connected with those people, once you've got into conversation, then you can try and take those conversations offline. By offline, I also mean video call. It's like creating that one-to-one space, or even in person if you possibly can. And that's where you sort of seamlessly integrate the online and the offline worlds, because online now gives you possible access to the most incredible people who you would have really struggled to get access to before. So that's giving you the foot in the door. It will also allow you to walk through that door and really get to know them, but then to deepen that even more, which is super helpful if you're particularly selling high value services, high value products, which require a high level of trust for people to invest. You want to probably meet those people offline and build that relationship further. So LinkedIn really is the gateway for that.
We are so excited to help you unlock LinkedIn's potential with our LinkedIn Starter Pack for lawyers. Across 11 chapters, we'll walk you through creating a profile that stands out, crafting content that connects, and building a network that works for you. It's designed to help you take your career or business to the next level. It's completely interactive, so it's not like reading a dull book on marketing. Go to the link in the description of this episode for more information.